Hey, how's this for meta? Orc Named Su started as an alternative voiceover track to a Skyrim Let's Play, and now there's an alternative track to that alternative track for the first hour of it. Reason this is happening is because Orc Named Su is kind of my series. It's the longest running series that I have, and I'm not overly thrilled with how the first few episodes of it came out, so since I still had that recording on my hard drive, I have the opportunity to redo it. And that's what we're doing here. Happy anniversary to me.
Well, that was an evening. Oh, yes, someone will have to refresh my memory about what we did last night, and more importantly, what I owe you for the bar tab. I'd imagine it's somewhere north of 2,000 gold, after all. We are some hardy physical specimens here.
Hey, you. Finally awake.
Yes, actually I am.
Trying to cross the border, right?
Is that some sort of drinking slang they use up here?
And that thief over there.
Damn you Stormcloaks. Skyrim was fine until you came along.
Actually, I think what you mean there with Skyrim was boring until we came along. And then the Orcish party bus came to town.
You there?
Me here.
We shouldn't be here.
Actually, I think I should be here. This place is in dire need of some redecorating. I'm thinking skulls everywhere.
Shut up.
Don't you take the tune with me, young man. I'll have you know I'm an officer of the Imperial
You're speaking to Ulfric Stormcloak, the true High King.
Right, Imperial Army. Stormcloaks.
You're the leader of the rebellion.
I think I've gotten myself into a spot of bother here.
Oh gods, where are they taking us?
Well, if they're following the standard Imperial handbook, which I wrote, not to blow my own proverbial horn, so to speak, they're going to take us to a major population center, murder us, place our skulls on display, and hold annual celebrations and festivities in honor of our ignominious defeat. And by our ignominious defeat, I of course mean your ignominious defeat. I'm sure I can flash the appropriate credentials and... Oh, right, my hands are tied and I seem to be dressed in rags. Damn it, has anyone seen my wallet? Blonde guy? Horse thief?
Sure, Mara, Debella, Kinnarev, Akatosh.
No, I don't think any of them might have seen my wallet, and unfortunately, if Ulfric's seen my wallet, he's not saying.
Look at him. General Tullius, the military
Tullius?
governor.
Military
And it looks
governor?
like the Thalmor are with
Rings a
him.
faint bell.
Damn elves. I bet they have
Actually,
something to
my
do with this.
honed orcish senses detected those damned elves of which you speak are trying to negotiate for our lives. I'm not sure why. Further research required. I'll be sure to ask General Tullius once this little misunderstanding is cleared up.
I used to be sweet on a girl.
Is that meant to impress me? I
Wonder
used
if
to be
you
sweet
lot
on
is
girls
still
from all
making
over
a deal
Tamriel.
with
Why,
gender
one time, this was this Argonian maid.
Funny.
Yeah, you
When
might
I
have
was
heard
a
of this one,
boy,
actually, because they immortalized it in a form of
towers
poetry
used to make
that even you illiterate northerners might be somewhat familiar with through the medium of stage plays.
To go inside.
Why? I want to watch the soldiers.
Quite right, and watch them you should. You there, father of the young boy, let him see imperial justice in action. He might learn something, like not to steal horses. Wait a minute, I know who you are. You're Lokier of Rorikstead. We weren't out partying last night. I was chasing you. You were a bounty that I was attempting to bring
go.
in. The misunderstandings pile upon each other now.
No, wait, we're not rebels.
Yes, for once he's actually speaking
Hey,
the truth.
shoot that.
He's not a rebel, he's just a horse thief being chased by
We
me.
weren't
That's
with
my
you. This is
bounty.
a mistake.
I damn well expect that you pay it. To me. And untie my hands at once.
Empire loves their damn lists.
I'll have you know that the Empire claims dominion over about 3 million people. They need
has been
lists
an
for things
honor,
like taxes and
Jarl
whatnot.
Ulfric.
You know, you can't have a civilization without some good bookkeeping. Oh, right, illiterates. My bad.
Lokier of Rorikstead.
Yes,
No,
no,
I'm
the
not a
horse
rebel.
thief. That one is
Can't
my
do
bounty.
this.
Hello? Hello? My bounty? No, no.
Not gonna kill me.
Archers!
Oh, for crying out loud. Listen, you still owe me the gold for him.
Wait. You there.
Me there,
Aboard.
again. Yes, as I was saying, Su, the Orc, formerly of the Imperial Legion, now bounty hunter, part-time architect, siege master, reveler of men, wooer of women, drinker and grower of fine wines. Really done it all, honestly.
You from one of the strongholds, Orc?
By way of
How did you
virtually
end up here?
everywhere else on Tamriel,
Captain,
again, I must
what
stress,
should we do?
in the service
Not on the
of the Imperial Legion.
Forget the list.
Well,
He goes to the
yes, I was born in an orchestra,
By
but
orders, Captain.
don't hold that against me. Again,
sorry.
must stress,
We'll make sure
Imperial
your men, Sir,
Legionnaire.
Follow the captain, prisoner.
Yeah, follow the captain. I know a thing or two about Imperial executions, and we need a chaplain. Oh, wait, there's a chaplain right there. Well, what about a last meal? Yes, I would like a leg of goat roast, extremely well
Some
done.
here in Helgen call you a hero, but a hero doesn't use a power like the voice to murder his king and usurp his throne. You started
I mean,
this war, plunged Skyrim into chaos.
As I understand it, that was all trial by combat. That's exactly how succession is supposed to happen in both the Empire and also, superior orcish civilizations.
Nothing.
But
Carry on.
isn't he supposed to be allowed last words? You've gone and tied up his
Give them
mouth.
their last
You fools.
As we commend your souls to Aetherius.
You better commend my
blessings of
soul to
the eight
Malakath.
divines upon
For the love of Talos, shut up and let's get this over with.
learn.
Hey, that's my line! Who does that guy think he is? The protagonist of this story? Or just someone who really has a death wish because he owes me too much money from drinking last night?
My ancestors are smiling at me, Imperials. Can you say the same?
Yes, you just robbed me of some drinking money. Do you know how much debt I'm racking up right now? It's quite considerable.
Idiot bastards!
I mean, seriously, you need to pay me whatever's in his pockets. You need to pay me for the bounty for the horse thief.
As fearless in death as he was in life.
Next, the orc.
In keeping with Orcish customs, I have some last words to speak.
Did you hear that?
Suck my buttery orc nipples, for you stand in the presence of the greatest military mind your stupid puny continent will ever know. Why, if I was in charge, I'd be sure to execute the leader of the rebellion first, rather than some random orc you just happened to pick up. Unless you're saying that this poor fellow was the mastermind of it all, but, I kind of doubt that. He is, after all, just a puny human. Well, come, sweet death. I have no wish to tarry in this extremely stupid land. No, I'm sorry. This is all very embarrassing. Back in my day, they wouldn't interrupt an execution just because some random winged terror came down from the sky, lit the atmosphere on fire, and started burning the town down around us. Come on, my neck is waiting here. No? Oh, fine. Oh, that was close. You missed! I missed the door. It's over here. Goodness, how
What
it
is that thing? Could the legends be true?
Yes, it is true. I am here, the Orc Named Su. I will save this land, and so on and so forth.
We need to move now!
Ah, very keen tactical mind. I never would have guessed that we need to move. Can fire melt stone? I actually don't know the answer to that, but hello. Okay, fire can't melt stone, but apparently fire can go straight through stone, in which case this tower is no longer safe. Farewell. Oh, those were my knees. Oh, I'm getting on a bit in age. How embarrassing. No, I don't think I want to. I'll go this way. Actually, that way is blocked by fire, that way is blocked by a dragon. Oh, this is all terrible. No, you foolish dragon, you're supposed to actually finish off your targets. Don't you know the first thing about tactics? That dragon doesn't know the first thing about tactics. Well, you appear to know something. You've at least got your sword out, although, really what you expect to do with the sword against the dragon? Maybe if he lands. Like right now, go stab him with your sword. Or use that sword to cut my hand loose so I can kill you, take your sword, and stab him. No. You humans are so boring. So boring. Wait, where did you go? Cut me loose, right now. Damn it! Do you know how hard it is to run with my hands bound? You'd be surprised, actually, given that it's my hands and not my legs, but, I have to have the proper form when I run, and jump, and steal things, and kill random guards who are in my way. I can't even pick up his arrows. Well, you're stopping him right now. I mean, you're stopping for a nice chat and a cup of tea while the dragon is killing everything. Just get into the keep already. Hurry up. Yes. Yes, that's the first intelligent thing you've said all day. Let's go. Now, Hadvar, being a learned man, I need to inform you. Yes, it was a dragon, and by the way, it can burn its fire breath through stone walls, if my earlier experience is anything to go by. So yes, get those
Take a look around.
bindings off of me. By the way, your knotsmiths are terrible. I must have a word with them. Leather armor, sword. Give the sword a few swings? You seem to imply that I have no experience with this sort of thing. What kind of keep is this? What kind of inventory do you maintain here? Oh, Mixed Unit Tactics in the 5 Years' War, Volume 1 by Codus Colonis, the definitive work on the subject and the handbook for many a successful Imperial campaign. Well, you know, for puny humans. Certainly it doesn't have things on advanced orcish techniques, like Gornosh's blade dance, but, you know, it's perfectly suitable for lesser mortal beings such as humans, because they don't need to know such advanced techniques. I mean, after all, only 1 in a million orcs can complete Gorlash's coursework, so humans can just stick with their, you know, phalanx formations and whatnot. As I said, wars were won with this book. It's a solid book. I'm glad to see that it's still in print and circulation and in every Imperial barracks from here to Hammerfell.
Hear that? Stormcloaks. Maybe we can reason with them.
A capital idea. I'll take the lead. Attention, lesser beings, you stand in the presence of an orc. Kneel, or alternatively die. That works as well. I mean, frankly, you're wasting oxygen anyway, and I can't really bear to breathe the same air as filth such as you, so yes, fall over now. Thank you. Oh, Hadvar, we must have a word. These barely equipped rebels that are supposedly on the run appear to have better war gear and armor than the Imperial Legion. What, I pray, is this world coming to? Oh, we must have a word with your quartermaster now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad to see that the first volume of that Mixed Unit Tactics book is there, but, well, where are the other 17 of them? Hadvar, you can't expect to win a war like this. You are expecting to win the war, right? I would assume. Oh. And on the subject of discussing things with your quartermaster, we must have a word about your absolutely shoddy keep construction. I mean, this is embarrassing. Oh, hold on. There are a couple more rebels here that need to be put down. I'll just use some of my advanced orcish techniques such as direct overhead chop. They'll never see it coming.
That's the end of that.
Hadvar, be a good man and clean this all up. I mean, I'm amazed. I split that man in two. How come he's still mostly intact? Really quite astonishing. Alright, so as far as provisions go here, it looks like you have a single health potion. Well, you know, I'm beginning to think that you're actually trying to lose the war. And I'm trying to figure out why that might be. Hadvar, has it occurred to you that there is a mole within the Imperial High Command? I mean, really, your equipment is subpar. There's very little food here. This is nowhere enough to feed a single orc, let alone an entire garrison. Now, granted, I understand an orc eats like 3 times as much as a normal human would. 4 times if you actually want to treat him gently enough that he doesn't pull your arms off in the middle of the night in some sort of rage. But still, formalities are to be, you know, honored and so forth. Where is the steamed duck? I would expect nothing less. Just a wooden bowl salt piled in a bucket. Hadvar, this is embarrassing.
Torture room. Gods, I wish we didn't need these.
Oh, a torture room. Now you're talking, Hadvar. But what do you mean by wish you didn't need this? There will always be rebel scum to put down, or if even in times of peace you could have dungeon parties.
Happened along just in time. These boys seemed a bit upset at how I've been entertaining their comrades.
See? Dungeon parties.
A dragon is attacking Helgen.
A dragon?
Yes,
Please,
a dragon.
Don't make up nonsense.
Nonsense? Nonsense.
Although, come to think
I bet you believe that the gods aren't real, the Daedra aren't real, and the Daedric artifacts scattered around the realm aren't real. I'll have to find some, bring them back here, and beat you to death with them just to prove you
Didn't you hear
wrong.
me?
I said the keep is under attack.
Forget the old man. I'll come with you.
Wait a second. Looks like there's something in this cage.
Something in this
Don't bother with
cage?
that. Lost the key ages ago.
You lost the key ages ago?
See if you can get it open.
What on...
We'll need everything we can.
Hadvar?
Take all my...
Well, you're not using them, so yes, I will take them all. But no, seriously, you left important items in the cage. Your armory is in your prison cell. I did notice that heavy shield back there. And you don't know where the keys are. Just what sort of outfit are you running anyway? I'm going to report you to your superior officer. Whoever that may be, possibly the lady who just tried to have my head cut off. We'll have a very interesting conversation about dungeon upkeep, armory placement, proper provisions. There's perfectly good random clothes lying around. Salt piles. Bone meal, excuse me, not salt piles. Hey, Hadvar, you want some salt? I guarantee you that's not what this is, but, well. I do have to applaud whoever left these braziers lit, though. Braziers, excuse me. My mind was elsewhere. You'll have to forgive me.
Where in Oblivion are we supposed to go?
That
Where's
way.
the way out?
Hey, Hadvar, I hear more rebels. Why don't you come along with me and we can kill them? By the way, Hadvar, I was going to give you credit for, keeping the place well lit, but this appears to be some sort of sewer backdoor entrance thing into your fortress that is completely unguarded. In fact, wait a minute. If this is a back door into the fortress, and it leads directly from the armory/prison, have you thought this through at all? So prisoners could sneak out, brigands could come in and steal weapons. And look at this occupational hazard here. You just left an oil patch right there. Oh, I'm going to have a word to your manager for sure. And another thing, Hadvar. You know that common orcish expression, you can always judge a man by the quality of his enemies? Well, I must say, that basic foot soldiers are so dumb that they stand around in oil pits. How is it, Hadvar, that the Imperial Army has not conquered and put down this rebellion and returned Skyrim to its natural state of... hello? Would you like to come with us and be our meat shield? No. Pity. Hadvar, what do you suppose this switch does? Hadvar?
Let's see what this goes.
That's what I was saying. Oh, it puts down a drawbridge. There's a hole in your ceiling! More enemy troops could get in there, if they had a brain. And also, why are these lit? Are we spending the Empire's oil budget? What did you just do? We're lucky that didn't happen. Yes, Hadvar, very lucky. You put a bridge right over an opening in the ceiling that your enemies could throw rocks at you. Malakath, preserve me. And again, I stress, these are enemies who are dumb enough to stand in oil. No wonder you're losing this war. Well, someone's going to have to return Skyrim to its natural state of, what shall I say? Well, one shouldn't say calm. They are, after all, inbred, illiterate barbarians, and far inferior to the majestic orc. But as far as human colonies go, you know. Well, I must admit that I find this entire lurking in the shadows and shooting things with bows and arrows thing to be entirely distasteful and unbecoming of orcish culture. But the only thing more distasteful than this is the Skyrim spider, and so we must, make do. Also, Hadvar, bit of advice. When I am lurking in the shadows and shooting arrows, do not run in front of me. First of all, you're alerting the enemies to our presence far more than their arrow-riddled corpses ever would, because, again, as we've established, they're a bunch of freaking morons. But also, because this will increase your likelihood of getting shot in the ass by an orcish arrow. Unless you're into that sort of thing, and frankly, I could understand why. But these aren't orcish arrows, you see, so get with the program, my dude. Yes, I know, we're fighting enemies dumb enough to stand in oil pits, but there's no sense in playing fair here.
Just ahead.
Oh, you mean the guard bear that you definitely 100% allowed to take root here in the otherwise unguarded back entrance into your fort? Well, I would certainly hope so.
Might take it by surprise.
Oh, I see what this is, the orcish custom of Grell from Drak, in which And lazy guard is ambushed by far less lazy guards, and if they survive the ambush, well, then they can keep being a guard, and if they don't survive the ambush, well, they weren't much use to the camp anyway. I wonder which one you are. Also, Hadvar, I can't help but notice that you did walk in front of the arrows again. You're not paying attention, are you? Now I'm just walking away from you, you're still not paying attention. Well, if you're exemplary of the Imperial soldier in the field up here, it's no wonder you're losing the war. Well...
This looks like the way out.
Oh, you think? Whatever gave it away? Was it the sunlight out here? The cold air blowing in? Hadvar, I'm really going to have to say I'm going to do without your services as squire. You failed your audition, sir. Good day. You lose. You get nothing. Yes, we all see the dragon. Maybe I'll have him be my squire.
Looks like he's gone for good this time.
Or you're just jealous that I'm recruiting a better squire.
If he comes back.
Is that the sort of tactics that you learn in the academy? A dragon attack when we should leave?
I'm sure he'd help you out.
Riverwood, eh?
It's probably best if we split up.
Understood. Farewell. I'll go search for a squire of my own in Riverwood. You go that way. No, I said you go that way. I'm going to Riverwood. Don't you have like an Imperial base to report to or something? Shouldn't you find General Tullius? You know, wasn't that something that you said you were going to be doing when we were in that prison?
You should go to Solitude and join up with the Imperial Legion.
Actually, I think you should go to Solitude and join up with the Imperial Legion. I'm busy killing, well, rabbits. To be frank, Hadvar, this is really more your speed. I should be off killing dragons, because after all, that's what orcs do. Yes, of course. Are we splitting up now? Are you staying here? Goodbye. For real this time? One hopes. Yes, a little bit of Mora Tapinella. Red mountain flowers. These are, of course, things that any orcish, alchemist or really any orcish adventurer would know everything about alchemy. I know all the recipes, all 5 of them. Don't you worry about that. Why are you still following me? We're done here, Hadvar. You said to split up, and I said you're not a very good squire. So why don't you just go away and leave me alone? Or, if you prefer, leave now and never come back. I suppose I could go a different way, but the point that you mentioned was Riverwood.
See that ruin up there?
Is that Riverwood?
Bleak Falls Barrow.
No, that's Bleak Falls Barrow. Can I get a squire there?
That place always used to give me nightmares. Draugr creeping down the mountain to climb through my window at night. That kind of thing. I admit, I still don't much like the look of it.
Wait, you're afraid of zombies and you're an officer in the Imperial Legion? What kind of superstitious maniacs do they employ? Oh, I'm going to fit right in. Right in. I mean, let's go over this. Superstitious soldiers, wasting their oil-burning braziers that no one sees, executing prisoners in the wrong order. Oh, you're just doing a fantastic job here, aren't you?
3 of the 13 ancient standing stones that dot Skyrim's landscape. Go ahead, see for yourself.
Right, seeing for myself. Warrior Stone. Well, it is obvious to me. I don't even need to look at the other ones. Hadvar, you're probably a thief or something, aren't you?
The minute I laid eyes on you.
Which is why you prevailed upon your superior to release me, induct me into the Imperial Legion, and make me general. I'd win this war in a month. And then I'd retire somewhere, keep some sheep. Hadvar, you know anything about goat herding? I assume it's more your thing.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, you've already earned your pardon.
Well, obviously.
But until we get that confirmed by General Tullius, just stay clear of other Imperial soldiers and avoid any complications, alright?
Complications like, killing a few morons who work for the Imperial Legion? Look, the way that I see it, Hadvar, I'd be doing them a favor. I'd be doing the Legion a favor, culling the dead weight, if you will. Now get in the water here and help me catch some fish with your bare hands, because that's the way that we catch fish in Orsinium. That's the true orcish way of catching fish. You don't use fishing rods. It's boring. Come on here, up here. As they jump up the little mini waterfall here, you just catch them. It's really quite straightforward, Hadvar. No, Hadvar, actually, don't look at me. You're crimping my style. This works much better when I'm on the zone. See? Salmon. Added to my inventory. Perfectly done. I am the best fish catcher in all of Skyrim because I need no tools whatsoever to do it. Hadvar, are you watching? No? Good. You weren't supposed to watch. I was testing you. It was all a secret test. You have already failed the whole possibility of being my squire thing, but you know. Oh, wolves. Okay. Have some death. Enjoy the taste of my axe. I am more than happy to spread the good news to all of you. Hadvar, as I said, Hadvar, you failed at the audition of being my squire, but I am now auditioning you for military governor of Riverwood, which I think is a post that might interest you. You know, if you hadn't gone and run off ahead of me and left these wolves here for me to kill. Not very good with the whole, you know, local militia thing doing your job or anything like that, no. Keeping the streets, the roads clear for merchants and whoever might want to come by.
Shores, bones. What happened to you, boy?
Ah, this must be your uncle.
Uncle, please, keep your voice down. I'm fine, but we should go inside to talk.
What's going on? And who's this?
He's a friend.
Well, that's an interesting way of describing a prisoner whose head I was going to help cut off before a dragon attacked, and then he berated me a bit while killing more rebels than I could ever hope to kill in my entire life, and inspired me to transcend the weaknesses that I was born with, such as being human, and instead to aspire to orcish greatness, which of course I, being a mere human, could never achieve. Hello.
Need something?
I need directions to the nearest...
Way, stranger.
I'm not even in your way. Oh, fine, I'll go with you. You might have some food for me. I wouldn't mind some of your finest venison steaks. You would give nothing less to a king, naturally. Well, Hadvar, come, let us feast upon your golden halls and gilded... Oh. Right, yes, of course. I have to tone down my expectations a little bit because, after all, you are a poor backwater human
You two must be
in the middle of a civil war, after all.
Get you something to eat.
Yes, of course, the finest roast goat that you have.
What's the big mystery?
The big mystery is that there's a dragon. Actually, how delicious would a dragon taste? Oh, my tongue is salivating at the thought. Dragon meat.
We will stop.
Yes, we'll have to have someone go out and get it for us, naturally. That sort of grunt work is beneath me.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's really not, actually. We could totally eat a dragon. Well, he might have been drunk. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, really, given the Imperial leadership on display here so far, it wouldn't surprise me if we could add drinking on the job to the sort of infractions that we'd seen from the garrison up at Helgen. No, you don't need to go to Solitude. You need to go back and rebuild the garrison at Helgen. By the way, that town drunk outside who was just loitering around in the middle of a civil war, who hasn't been drafted, perhaps we could conscript him to rebuild this garrison. Or we could recruit you to rebuild the garrison. How brilliant.
We need your help.
You need my help. Yes, okay, well, I can understand. Recognizing the superiority of the orcish intellect and asking me to take on the burden of guiding you through your life and running your town for you, marrying your daughter. Oh, actually, she's a minor. Never mind, scratch that. But, unfortunately...
There's a dragon on the loose.
Yes, the Jarl needs to know there's a dragon on the loose. I can't stay. I'm sorry, I have to keep moving on. Yes, the Jarl in Balgrun. I'll have to go do that at once. I can't linger.
I'll be in your debt.
Yes, you will, and we'll talk more about your debt later. But in the meantime, can I use your forge?
If you have the skill.
If I have the skill? If I have the skill? Sir! I am an orc. I guarantee you there is no finer blacksmith in all the land. No, not fine non-orc blacksmith, obviously. I know all about the hammering of metals and the sharpening of blades. And, if you haven't have a book on the subject, I'd be happy to read it and point out everything that's wrong about it, which would be, naturally, everything. Because I am the expert in all things, but particularly the forging of armor. Would you like for me to demonstrate? Hadvar? No? You're just going to sit here Hadvar, you're an embarrassment. I just want you to know that. Yes, goodbye now. Right. Now, off to this forge thing to demonstrate my superiority. Naturally, the first thing that we'll need are these iron ingots. Wonderful. And steel ingots, which are different from iron ingots, in that they have a slightly different coloration. Obviously, everyone knows this. Now, over here on the tanning rack, I can go ahead and skin some of these creatures that... Alvor, would you by any chance happen to have a couple of bandages lying around? I seem to have cut off my finger. Right. Well, while you're fetching those, actually, you know what? No, I'll just make some bandages of my own because obviously that's what you do at a blacksmith forge. Brawler's leather braces. You know what I could do with those? Actually, I could put an artificial finger up in there, and then no one would be the wiser. And then I could like jab people's eyes out with it. Oh, it's not a bad idea at all. But iron gauntlets, even better. Oh yes. Right, well, I'll just go ahead and smith myself up some armor here. No need to watch me very carefully. I'm certainly not going to just nip over to that table and steal the armor that's already out there. Heavy iron plate, yes. Now, this is slightly more befitting an orc of my stature, although slightly. You know, if it's the best that you have, I suppose I'll make do. But really, the materials that you've given me to work with, you can't blame my craftsmanship when I'm given such terrible materials to work with. So, yes, let's see. Brawler's iron gauntlets. I think we have enough of that. Some iron plate armor. I would also like some of this. Perhaps I'm going to have to borrow some more ingots of materials from someone. Well, there was the mine that we passed a moment ago. Yes,
That's good armor you put together.
I thank you. I've certainly have done this before plenty of times, so I have plenty of practice with that. But I appreciate the thanks all the same. Alvor?
Take what you need, my friend. The finest weapons and armor.
Well, I'm excited to see what you have. I can't imagine that it compares at all to what I've got, naturally. But still, I'll go ahead and sell off some of these things that, I no longer need. So here we go. Now I can go ahead and put on my brand new plate armor, hot off the forge. Don't I look spiffy now? Yes. You know, surprisingly, this armor cools alarmingly quickly. Not alarmingly, surprisingly quickly. It's Skyrim, right? There's some magical cold element up here that allows me to just wear this armor like 2 seconds after I've pulled it from the forge, without burning myself. Oh, right, no, of course not. That's just my innate orcish awesomeness. I knew that, obviously. Yes. Moving on. I've had a very successful day so far with the surviving the dragon attack and everything, and I've begun holding tryouts for the whole position of squire. Hadvar hasn't distinguished himself in the slightest, but perhaps I can find a more suitable subject over in this city. We'll have to figure this one out as we go, I suppose. But in the meantime, I am well armed and armored at long last. Alvor, would you be so kind as to sell me a couple of things, like, well, actually, I'll sell them to you, these swords and daggers. You know, we could go into business, you and I, seeing as neither of us really knows anything about smithing. Mum's the word. Yes, I know. But think about that, actually. That'd be clever to set up as a blacksmith somewhere. Just, I go out and kill a bunch of raiders, and he sells their stuff as though he built it himself. Yes, that's a perfect business plan in case we get bored with, just making money.
Orgnar, are you listening?
Hard not to.
I'm not sure that he is, frankly.
Yale is going back.
Also, he called you loudmouthed. I think that's funny. Perhaps you should put him in his place? Anyways, We're going to go ahead and do some potion making here because, as I mentioned earlier, I know every single recipe, all 1,600 of them. Yes.
Just make sure we get a fresh batch.
You said that he had potatoes in his ears twice. I think that's funny. But yes, I think on the whole, life is going rather well for me. I've found gainful employment as a courier because this settlement lacks, the infrastructure necessary to just run a message over to Whiterun on their own. They're going to need some outsider they've never heard of who woke up last morning on a prison cart. Oh. And now they're trusting him to bring warning of a dragon attack. I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it again, but it's not remotely surprising to me that you people are losing the war when you just carry on like this. Anyway, that's done it for me from these potions for now. As you see, I've mastered all 3 of them, and that is the total number that there are. Right, Delphine, hello.
You're that visitor been poking around.
I'm that visitor been poking around.
Word is Ulfric Stormcloak escaped from the Imperials. War is only going to get worse now.
A little bit annoying, but in my defense, my hands were bound. If my hands hadn't been bound, there is absolutely no way, I assure you, that he possibly could have escaped. Not that it would have mattered. Empire's terrible at executing people.
I'm the innkeeper.
Do you have a
it's my
twin?
Business to keep track of
you have an evil twin who's inside
I heard Luke and yelling the other day about a thief breaking into a store.
A thief in a store? In my day, they'd punish that sort of thing with mutilation, exile, death by exile, death by botched mutilation. Oh my goodness, a fellow mayor. Now, granted, would have, but I would like you to join my services.
Occasionally, he finds time to thinks his
Who?
valid,
What? Bard? Whatever. No, I can honestly say I don't care, but if you want something to happen here...
a little help seeing Sven for what he is.
Well, yes, and then you can follow me. Would you like that?
Letter and say it's from Sven?
Oh, I'll do that.
That Nord's lack of cleverness perfectly.
Lack of cleverness, perfectly. Well, if there's one thing that I know, it's that Nords are not very clever. Am I right, fellow mayor? Am I right? Lack of cleverness. I'll need to keep this in mind, actually, that Nords are not very intelligent people. Might not react very well to having an orc just come in and upstage them on the intellectual front.
One of us has to do something.
Well, one of you has to do something.
No adventures,
No. I'll work on that barbarian voice later.
An ornament, solid gold.
An ornament of solid gold was stolen. I'll get it for you.
My last shipment.
I'm so glad. Yes. I would like to tell you that Sven has a letter. Yes.
Does know how to make a girl blush.
No, he really doesn't. Well, blush with embarrassment, I suppose.
All I'm going to do is stay in that filthy house of his and clean.
I mean, that doesn't sound so bad, does it?
I'm not speaking to him anymore.
How disappointing.
Better get going.
Well, if you insist.
The river. My sister Camilla. Oh, a bit of this. And
Can I just buy things from you? Alright, lovely. So, what we have here is a failure to communicate. on Sven's part, you see. I'll tell you a little secret, man to man. Murder man, if you will. I may have misled your sister about Sven's intentions, but don't worry, if he's the one that she's interested in, his romantic rival is about to go off on a magical journey with me and become a lot more of a catch. So really, I'm doing you a favor by letting your sister, scrape the bottom of the barrel where she belongs. Yes. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, I'd like to buy some books from you, some spell tomes perhaps. Do you have the one that makes women fall in love with me? No, of course you don't. Do you have the one that makes men fall in love with me? Any port in a storm? You know what I mean? Seeing as how we're both going, well, I'm taking final nest. Oak flesh. Yes, what was I saying? Oak flesh. That would be a wonderful spell to have. Just give me that. Ignore the things that I was saying earlier, and I will happily take this tome off of your personage. Right. That will do. Now I'll help myself to these spells. Oak flesh will of course make me even more invincible than my normal orc constitution. It should be called orc flesh, it really should. But now I've got those set up. Wonderful. And we are ready to go on a wonderful little adventure just as soon as I return to Findle and inform him that his application for the position of my squire has been accepted. By default. I have to admit, he's in for a life of adventuring, and he'll never know what comes next. I mean, consider my day. Woke up in the morning, captured, taken to an execution site, attacked by a dragon, escaped again. That was just the morning. Afternoon, all I did was commit some petty fraud. Quite strange. Anyway, Findle.
What do you want me to carry?
I would like you to have some things because, well, frankly, being my squire, I need you appropriately dressed for the job. It would not do to have my standard bearer running around in rags, now would it? Unfortunately, as it turns out, I don't actually have any armor for you, so you'll just have to make do with whatever it is that you happen to have on you. For now. Of course, in the future, when we happen to find loot, you'll be the one carrying it, and I will allow you to use some of the things that we find. But only some of them, naturally. Would you care for a snack, Findle? Perhaps some pheasant breast, raw rabbit leg, some random eel meat that we may find just discarded on the riverbank here? Oh, that's right, you're a Bosmer. You might prefer to eat proper meat. The quiet type are you, Findle? I appreciate that. The other orcs are too boisterous. I grew up in a stronghold, naturally. All good proper orcs grow up in strongholds, let's make no mistake about that. But I chose to join the Imperial Army, because, frankly, I found running around like a frothing madman to be rather, gauche. I prefer killing only those who really deserve it, people who stray from the Emperor's light. What's the difference, you ask? Well, a better pay, for one, obviously. Usually better equipment, although really you can't be too careful. Always check your own swords and get a good whetstone, I say. The companionship is better, both in terms of the whole brothers in arms thing, and, the fact of the matter is there are certain places in Tamriel where you might go and, say like a brothel, and you mentioned that you fought under General So-and-so at the Battle of Wherever. You killed Admiral Bone to Pick, and, well, you might get a bonus, so to speak. Alas, I seem to have wound up on the wrong side of the law this time. Not that you need to explain that to any of your future employers. I'll get it sorted out before you leave my service, Findle. Don't worry, it won't be a blot on your record. It's a paperwork error that happens from time to time. Comes of trying to run an empire this large and unwieldy without a few dozen orc clerks to keep track of everything for you. Why, the last time I was in Skyrim, I was told to relieve the garrison at Fort Hragstad and burn down Fort Sungard, only the orders got garbled, and we wound up burning down Fort Hragstad and relieving the garrison at Fort Sungard. The fact of the matter is, of course, these things happen. I choose to believe that Malakath works in mysterious ways. But yes, just something to keep in mind while you're traveling with me before I get that sorted out, Findle. Due to a paperwork error, the Empire might be after me for a little bit of, goat buggery. But don't worry, as I said, these things just happen. It's part of the world in which we live, and your discretion is, as always, most appreciated. Speaking of which, here's a dead elf. Let's go through his things together. Yes, not terribly interesting, I have to say, although he did have a note on him. And as well, these iron boots of resist frost, I feel, will come in handy, given that the whole, climate of Skyrim has not been adjusted yet to a more appropriate temperature. These foolish Nords lack weather-changing magic that would, we orcs conquered that sort of thing centuries ago. We lost it, of course, when we were in one of our dark ages when we were overrun by lesser beings.
What do you want me to carry?
I do have some things that I'm going to need you to take off my hands now. These boots. And to be clear, Findle, this is one of those things that we were talking about, where discretion is going to come into play, because you really can't have people asking questions about these items' previous owners, but mum's the word and all that. Alternatively, Findle, we could say that we found these on the poor, desecrated corpses of some Imperial citizens who were killed by bandits that we naturally went to take care of. There's a bandit camp right up ahead that will supplement our story most wonderfully. And it was these poor, benighted civilians' dying request that we carry on their family heirlooms, so that some part of them could go on for yes. Why, I myself picked this battle axe from the cold, dead hands of a Nord who was fighting for Ulfric's Stormcloak. He obviously was a victim of Ulfric's demagoguery, and he naturally would want his weapon to return to a loyal son of the Emperor. In all my semantics, I missed the fight. I didn't even have to pay attention. That's how boring it was. Findle, we really need to find a better class of enemy. You know, Findle, that fight went rather well, and I'm pleased to say that your very first performance review as a squire is a positive one. I did what I do best, which is run screaming into the enemy and killing things, and you hung back to the shadows as befits your station and your lack of armor. Speaking of, we can now strip these bandits and give you something to wear. I mean, that would make you a little bit more useful as... I wouldn't say a frontline fighter. You're working with me, obviously. You will stay in the background and not draw too much attention to yourself, because we can't have you, hogging the spotlight from me. But it's always oh my goodness, Findle, what impressive arms you have. I had no idea. I'll be in my bunk over here, shall I? I mean, wow, how did you get arms that thick? Just hauling logs around all day? That's a euphemism if I've heard one. But I must say, Findle, you are an elf of hidden talents, and I am very pleased to make your acquaintance. Especially so because among the loot that we've acquired here is a very spiffy-looking iron helmet, which really goes well with my beard and my tusks and this rather impressive neck piece that's attached to my chest armor here. It really is quite fitting. Seriously, Findle, why are you looking at me like that? All I said was that you have very fine sword-slinging arms. What sort of sword you want to sling around with those arms is entirely your business. We'll just finish looting the camp here, and then we need to discuss how this whole hauling of the loot back to camp works. You might not like this conversation, Findle, but you did sign a contract when you agreed to work with me. Even if it was only in my mind, it still counts. That's a prominent Orcish legal principle. And frankly, as impressive as your arms are, you lack the muscles to really contest it. Also, having slept on it, Findle, I'm reminded that I know the secret that you forged a letter to Camilla Valerius in order to win her heart. Now, orcs don't like to use blackmail all that often. It's kind of underhanded, but, well, having invented the thing, it is proprietarily ours. So, in this case, consider yourself blackmailed into my service until such time as I feel fit to release you. Naturally, this will be some point after your arms give out. No, not like that. I mean, you'll be hauling all of my loot.
You lead, I'll follow.
Because this is your primary purpose in life. Haul my loot, fix my meals, and occasionally serve as a distraction for the bad guys so that they, look at you or start shooting their rather bothersome arrows at you while I run into the middle of them and hack them apart in true orcish fashion. I believe this is the beginning of a perfectly beautiful friendship, Findle, and I look forward to many, many long years of companionship.
What do you want me to carry?
Well, basically, and without limitation, and bearing in mind that this is a non-exhaustive list, all weapons, armor, arrows, healing potions, stamina potions, magic potions, food, ingredients, books, scrolls, and miscellaneous items that we loot from every idiot dumb enough to challenge me. Similarly, any items, including but not limited to all types of items described previously, that we happen to find lying on the side of the road, or in the possession of anyone who looks at me funny, or who I think might be inclined to look at me funny, which naturally includes anyone and everyone wearing particularly fancy clothes. You know, Findle, I'm thinking, Skyrim is not a particularly well put together place. I mean, dragon attacks a city and they send some random stranger as opposed to a paid courier service to warn the Jarl to do what, I'm not entirely sure. But yes, I believe that with the proper application of orcish intelligence, naturally orcish intelligence, although being a mare, you are of course better than the humans, so you're more than welcome to assist me, but just at the same time you will be basking in my greatness naturally. Put together a proper government / economy / military / social safety net for the good and not so good people of Skyrim. This shall be my goal, my purpose, until, something shiny or sexy comes along and distracts me. But for now, it will keep me suitably occupied. Wait, why am I consulting this map? Findle, as my squire, one of your responsibilities is to keep me on the right track. I can't be expected to stop every few minutes and read a map. I'm too busy, expositing and pontificating and rambling on and on and on to myself, and also occasionally killing things. This is really what squires are for. Another thing squires are for, keeping my weapons and armor sharp and up to date. Now, I'm willing to lend you some assistance in this matter by, obtaining the raw minerals that you might need. For example, here we have a mine that I am now going to liberate from its previous owners through the ancient, honorable orcish practice of killing them all and taking their stuff. Findle, I'm giving you an opportunity here to do something more useful than all of that. To prove your worth to me, to kill this man by shooting arrows at him. There you go, wonderful. It only took you 3 or 4 tries. But I can make a proper squire out of you yet, Findle, don't you worry. Oh, yes. And I believe somewhere over here. Yes, there's an axe back there, Findle. You go pick that up. I'm far too important to do things like cut wood. Also, I can't help but notice that we're both getting a little bit overburdened in the inventory department. Therefore, it would behoove us to return to Riverwood, sell all of this useless junk and gear, then return to this mine that I have just stumbled across, kill anyone who happens to be squatting on it, strip mine it bare, and use that to craft a better set of armor for myself. I hasten to add that under a legal doctrine that I just made up, the better suit of armor that we will be crafting is not contained within the list of items that I'll expect you to be carrying. I call this legal doctrine common sense, which is something that seems to be lacking in Skyrim, but something that I, through just my magnificent presence, will cause the average of to rise precipitously. Yes, Findle, I have to say, I'm rather proud of what we've accomplished here. We've cleared out a couple of bandit camps. We're going to go back and clear out that mine and then get the village economy up and running again. I could take over the blacksmith shop and make this a proper armor production facility. Yes, that would be brilliant. The people of this town will come to adore me and everything will be wonderful and locked? Locked? They locked me out? Well, Findle, I guess you'll have to exercise those strong muscles of yours carrying more of my stuff around for a bit longer then. Again, no homo, unless you actually want it that way, but as previously discussed, I believe you only have eyes for Camilla Valerius, and to the point that you forged a letter and gave yourself over to me as far as a blackmail victim, so truly you love her, and I'm not one to stand between true love, I'm just one to exploit it mercilessly. Speaking of merciless exploitation, we're going to go ahead and improve some of our armor here. And then once we go through the mine again, we'll have even more ore. Well, actually, first we'll have to refine it. Findle will have to find some way, of course, to refine the ore. And you don't happen to, breathe fire, do you? No, not one of your talents. That was there when we got there. Yes, of course. Yes. You know, Findle, in reward for your leal service to me, I'm going to bestow upon you a fine hunting bow. Yes, you'll appreciate this. See how fine it is. The finest orcish smithing. Well, actually, it could be better. I must admit, now that no one else is around, I don't really know what I'm doing with this whole smithing thing. Now, with Riverwood closed, we're going to need to come up with a new plan. Let's see. Drown more sailors than the mermaid shall, slay more gazers than the basilisk. No, I think not. Perhaps what we'll do is just run back to Embershard Mine. Yes, clear it out, take all their loot, mine the ore, and then rather than try to refine the ore ourselves, just sell it to Riverwood. No, I'm worried that this plan won't work, actually, because Riverwood's economy, now that I think about it, is based around a timber mill. Not so much ore. I would assume, frankly, that if this mine of theirs was important enough to their economy, they would have annexed it by now, instead of letting bandits just run all over it. So what I'll do, when I go to the Jarl of Whiterun, actually, is I'll I'll present myself as the rightful owner of this mine. Clearly, he's not around to make a claim, otherwise the local constabulary would have already run these bandits out of the proverbial town. Yes, actually. If there's not an iron ore economy, I shall make an iron ore economy. I shall be known as Su, Baron of Iron. And you, Findle, you shall be known as Findle. Yes, naturally. Don't look so glum, Findle. Under the terms of the Squire Employment Act of 3E119, you're not going to be making any money off of this. Well, not directly at least. Any money that you would make from this would be held in trust by your knightly master, namely me. And, well, I will naturally safeguard your coin as though it were my very own. As though it were my very own. Fear not, Findle. Your gold is perfectly safe with me from everyone, including your own greed. Now, Findle, we're going to have our first case of what I like to call dungeon delving. And also, by the way, quick demonstration on the whole fast sneaking thing. What you do is you sneak and then you zoom out as soon as you start sneaking, and you move faster than you should. It's one of those weird things that the great god Todd left in the source code for the universe, and we all thank him for it regularly. I admit that sneaking is not really my thing, it's more of an elf thing, but you are an elf and I am endeavoring to show you how things are done. Which is also why I'm using the bow that I built for you. Anyway, now, orc swing, orc chop, there we are. Not to be confused with pork chop, that is something completely different. Loot the paltry 6 gold off the bandit, loot the corundum ingot. Oh, how did this guy have a corundum ingot? Perhaps they have a smelter in this mine. That is a thought. That is a brilliant thought. They're far too over-industrialized for these bandits, naturally. But perhaps someone of more calculation could make something of a tattered journal. Findle, would you care to... Well, first of all, Findle, can you read? And secondly, would you care to read the last moments of a poor fool who got himself caught in a cave-in? No? You wouldn't? Well then, Findle, count yourself fortunate that you are not able to read. I seem to have accidentally alerted more bandits by dropping that bridge. And by accidentally, I mean, of course, this was all part of my master plan. Because orcs don't make mistakes. Orc block, orc swing, orc dodge. This is taking me back to my academy days. What academy, you ask? Well, it was more like my father's fighting pits, but, you know, same thing. Okay, that's 4 bandits down inside the mine, plus the 1 outside. Wait a minute. The bandits were smart enough to leave a guard outside the mine looking for... My point, Findle, is that the Empire just had a bear guarding their back door. They didn't have anybody, you know, on guard duty once you were past the prison cells. It was very strange. But it's what I've come to expect of them. Excuse me, are you attempting to use magic on me? How dare you? Staff of Flames, a gout of fire that does 8 points per second. Findle.
I'm right behind you.
I'm not one for filthy magic. Well, other than, you know, restoration spells, armor spells. I wouldn't say no to the occasional fireball, but I'm certainly not the sort of person who needs a staff to do his magic for him.
Lead on.
And by the way, if you're prejudiced against magic, when I say fireball spells, that's really more for like cooking food and whatnot, obviously. But yes. Necklace of a minor knight. I'm not a minor knight. Now, dividing the loot under the terms of the Squire Employment Act of 3119, it's all mine to keep, but yours to carry. So I'm glad that a little, any potential misunderstanding there would be immediately sorted out. So here, have this axe. Yes, it's funny, Findle. You have my axe and I have your bow. Very, very fellowshipy. Right. Now, as I was saying, 5 bandits already. We don't know how lucrative a business this is, and clearly the local complacent Nords don't know either, otherwise they'd be strip mining the place. But I'm impressed, because after all, do you know how hard it is to get 5 bandits to agree to anything? In my wild and carefree youth, I briefly tried to run with a gang of bandits, and let me tell you, it was a total disaster. There was one that was well, frankly, a furry. I mean, just obsessed with pretending that he was an animal, the best beast that ever was. There was one who was just a straight-up serial killer. I mean, you couldn't reason with him at all. One who was only in it for, well, the profit, which I could respect at least. Although, to be fair, she did spend way too much time doing her hair. Blacksmith, you're doing it wrong. Allow me to educate you. Or, rather, allow me to perforate your brain with an arrow. That's, frankly, what I'm here to do. Fine, I'll happily educate you in the art of blacksmith making at some point, but that will, of course, have to wait until such time as we are not being in a game of hide and find the arrows with the bandits. Which is a game that I quite enjoy playing. I'm not going to headshot! Yes. Oh, these... You know, I'm beginning to doubt that they're actually all that intelligent. Oh, well, never mind. Oh, fine, I've misplaced my sword. This is your fault. In the face. Right. I'm just going to pause time here for a second and wolf down whatever food I can get my hands on because, well, honestly, that took me a little bit by surprise. They suddenly showed up when I insulted their intelligence. Note to self, do not insult the intelligence of bandits. And also now I've contracted food poisoning. Oh, this day was going so well, and then I started making so many errors. Before I get too sidetracked, to return to my story briefly about my bandit companions, the last one. He fancied himself our leader, but, well, the best thing that he could do was turn our lair into a massive death trap and make prisoners race through it for his own amusement. Very strange. Now, finally, I'm afraid it's time for a performance review. You see, you're responsible for preparing my food and making sure that I don't get food poisoning, which is going to now affect me for the next 3 days and make my stamina recover significantly slower. I realize that you might be new to this whole squire thing, but stamina is very important for a fighter such as myself, because it determines how many power attacks I can do, and power attacks are a fighter's bread and butter. Overhead orc chops. Right, here's a book on light armor forging. I think this might come in a little bit of handy, given, well, I don't need that. I'm actually a genius. Yes, iron ingots that are here. How did they make those? Unclear? Right, don't worry, Finder. I'm not turning off the lights to do anything untoward towards you. I'm just, collecting these for later. No, I'm actually quite serious about this. It gets very cold up north, and you'd be surprised how much warmth you can just kind of radiate in the general area just by holding a torch. Speaking of, we are going to have to find some proper fur armor for you. You know what I think was funny was that there was a Khajiit back there in one of the rooms that he was wearing fur armor, and he was also wearing, well, his own fur. I was wondering if he was wearing his cousin, but, well... perhaps one shouldn't joke about those sorts of things, but you do get the weird sense of humor in an adventurer. Right, now, where was I? Oh, right, I was berating you. You see, I'm afflicted with food poisoning now, and that means that I'm going to have to pay money to get that cured. Finally, again, realize that you're new to this whole adventuring thing, but the point of this adventure is to make money, not to have to pay money for healing. And so on and so forth. It's hard to make money when you have additional upkeep costs, such as food poisoning needing healing. Right? Now, to elaborate, Finder, you yourself are in upkeep costs. You are an extra mouth to feed. You need to pull your own weight. I need to assure you that allowing me to get food poisoning is not pulling your own weight. It is, in fact, the opposite of pulling your own weight. You are being dead weight right now. So why don't you put those magnificent arms of yours to good use and pull some weight? And I realize that this metaphor has gone on a little bit too far. Just don't do it again, is what I'm saying. Properly cook my food in the future. There's plenty of salt piles in the pack. You should know what you're doing. So get on that as soon as we can find ourselves a fire. And also a meal. Can I shoot this fox? Finder, I'll bet you 3 septims that I can shoot this fox. Well, never mind. Perhaps what I can do is catch up to the fox and stab him. Given that he keeps ducking behind trees, and that's rather... Come here. Okay, fine. There are too many witnesses. We are not allowed to do this. Can I go inside your house? No, I still can't. Why am I locked out of this house? Alvor, Was it something I said?
What you need, my friend.
Did I snore?
Within reason.
Did I steal your... I just take your key, I suppose, but I suspect you would detect me. And I'm not very nimble-fingered here in my armor. So perhaps what I can do instead is pick the lock, but who is detecting me? Okay, alright, nope. Hidden, wonderful. Detected. Who is watching me right now? It's not you, is it, Finder? No, detected. It could be Malakath watching me and judging my sins. Well, fine. So be it. I didn't want to sleep with your wife anyway, Alvor. I'll just find something else. Oh, we're hidden. Nope, we're detected. For crying out loud. Why? Can't have anything. I can't have anything nice, it seems. Oh, no, there's movement over there. I'm now being detected by Findle, who's finally caught up with me, and now I'm being detected by the lady of the house. No,
New
good.
delivered wood? If you're looking for work, go see Hod at the mill.
Hard at the mill for work. No, I must say I prefer killing bandits to hauling planks of wood around and getting splinters. That's more peasant work. And I'm more of like a conquering hero. And people should sing my praises. And if they're not singing my praises yet, well, Bard, you can sing my praises.
You're that visitor been poking around.
And you could call me something other than that visitor been poking around. My lord, for starters. No, I think I'm done with this town.
You
and
look
I think
worse than I feel.
Oh, I'm so done with this town. Final. I think the problem that I'm having here is people see me, and they expect me to behave in a certain way. They don't expect me to talk like this. They expect Orc to talk like this. Okay, maybe something a bit less generic. Maybe yes, yeah. Orc talk, good. Barbarian kill, smash, hurt things. Arrgh. I can do a barbarian voice. Just give me a moment here. I'll work it out. My lord, I did deny no prisoners. No, yes. Did you hear that, Findle? I assume you did. You have the wolves. I was going to say you have the ears for it. Yes. But anyway, finding a proper mercenary voice to use so that the good people of Whiterun don't get too frightened by an erudite orc. No, I don't use words like erudite. Be smart. Yes. Right. I can talk like this then. This is fine. This is absolutely fine. Yes. Alright, this is the voice that I'm going to use in the future then. And don't let me slip it up at all, Findle, because I will be quite put out with you if my cover is abruptly blown due to misfortune of a momentary slip of memory. That would be, as they say, bad. Oh, damn it, I've done it already. Right, there's a fight up ahead. We'll go ahead and give this a shot. Pun. Funny. Right. Now remember, keep the voice up, and aim and knock the arrows, and oh, damn it, the giant is already dead. Alright, how about you? Are you going to be friendly? Hello?
You handle yourself well.
I do.
You could make for a decent shield brother.
A shield brother? What is this?
An outsider, eh? Never heard of the Companions? An order of warriors.
I've heard of companionship. Oh, yes, I've heard of companionship. Nope.
And we show up to solve problems if the coin is good enough.
Can I join you then?
Not for me to say.
In bed?
I want to talk to Codlac Whitemane up in Jorvaskar. The old man's got a good sense for people.
Well, I'd best stay clear of here then. I mean, yes, of course, I'd be more than happy to join your little party of severely underdressed warriors. I mean, wow. Right, giant empty, naturally. Can't expect them to have left anything for me.
Come to Jorvaskar and be a companion.
I am strong, me smash. No, alright, we've really got to get this voice under control before we go in there.
There's a nip in the air. Cold won't be good for my crops.
There's a nip in the air. The cold won't be good for your crops, yes. Right, got it. From this moment on, I am just an average orc. Average intelligence, yes. Whiterun stables. Ah, good. Final, this is a caravan. They have these already. so I don't need to, like, come up with master plans to improve Skyrim's economy. Naturally.
It is all in this note.
Ah, well, excellent. I've found a note. I've been asked to help out a caravan. I'm being hired as a caravan guard. Brilliant. Now, I would like to discuss, naturally, some improvements that we might make. Like, for example, if you hired some wagons, you could carry more loot from place to place, and this might help you to sell a greater volume of goods. And then, granted, the wagon would slow you down a bit. There'd probably be a greater percentage of bandits, greater incidence of bandit attacks, but, well, no, I shall simply browse your wares, because I can't exploit my intelligence in fun ways. What you should do, however, I must stress this, what you should do is you should find a magic invisible box, stick a portal in it, so that you can store all of your goods in there, and then bury that box in some northern wasteland where no one will look for it. Yes, this is the advice that I shall pass on to you. Completely insane, no one would ever do that. Right. Now, is there anything else that I'd like to sell unto you, other than some free advice? Actually, I should charge you for that advice. I can't believe I didn't do that, but I am, after all, an orc of average intelligence. Right. Now, this note says that there are bandits. Mothroth guards are traveling with him, but they are ill-equipped to deal with these bandits, that wield strange golden weapons and wear gleaming armor. Last time they set upon us, they shout, "The Saints would like to browse your wares today." Right, the Saints. I know where those are. Those are on 3rd Street. So all we need to do... Oh, actually they're at Fort Kastov. Right. Alright, well, I'll make my way over there at some point, rest assured. In the meantime, I have some commentary on the state of these walls. One well-equipped orc battalion could no doubt take this city. Damn it, Findall! I need to stress upon you how important it is that you prevent me from doing any of this cultural posturing. Actually, wait, cultural posturing is something that an orcish brute would do, so yes, go ahead and do that. Hello, orcish brute here.
City's closed with the dragons about.
Would an orcish brute halt when a god tells him to halt? Official business, I bring word from Helgen about the dragon attack.
But we'll be keeping an eye on you.
As well you should, because I am an orcish brute. An orcish brute who has just leveled up. Hello, Whiterun, and welcome.
They say Helgen got hit by a dragon. One of those must have more swords for the Imperial soldiers.
More swords for the Imperial soldiers? Well, fortunately there's another smith in town now. Well, sort of smith. Well, actually, yes, I am a smith, obviously. Yes, I'm feeling ill, we've been over this. I need healing, but first I need a bed and a warm body to put in it. Because that's the sort of thing that I'd be concerned with. Right, obviously.
Come on in. Just stoke the fire.
Thank you, I mean, yes, good.
If it's work you're looking for,
Fire, make some
Holda's
food.
the one to talk to.
Work, talk to Holda. Got it. Right. Findall, a whole new world of employment opportunities just opened up to us, and we are going to need to take advantage of this. So, number 1, work from Holda. Number 2, work from the companions. Number 3, go talk to the Jarl, because frankly the Jarl will probably want to reward us for informing us that his leal subjects are under attack and he needs to raise an army to defeat the dragon. Actually, on second thought, that's probably not what's going to happen. The Jarl will probably throw us in prison. That's what I would do. I mean, think about it. Here I am, sitting up in my throne room, having a pleasant day, and then this orc comes in and tells me that I need to raise an army and send it off to deal with the dragon. If he presses me for details, I'm going to have to tell him that the Imperials were trying to cut off my head. Oh.
You want a drink?
Well, yes, actually, I think a drink would come in very handy right
now. Are you
now.
Thirsty? Hungry? Both?
I would say thirsty, but also hungry. A condemned man would like a last meal.
No more questions.
No more questions indeed. That is something I can get behind. Right. Final, I think we can make it here. But we're going to have to be a little bit careful.
Sadia, dear?
Yes, Mum?
Don't forget to polish those glasses later.
Oh, yes, Miss Hulda.
See, Final, that's the sort of attitude I'm looking for.
Deacon, don't go pushing buttons on the nuclear submarine. You're scaring me.
Her lips don't move.
Her lips are moving. Her lips were literally moving there.
I truly am living the best life. Now, granted, I suppose there could be some minor improvements. I could have an entire harem of followers. I would not mind that at all, in fact. But you know.